These are the 4 things Dave Ramsey gets wrong. A lot of the advice Dave Ramsey gives is condescending and may have worked in the 1990s, but given the struggle of everyday people, a lot of it is not realistic anymore. And I'm not talking about getting and staying out of debt, living with your means, and investing your money. Of course, he's right about that, but that's what you will find in any book about personal finance. He has some horrible takes that I'm going to go through one by one, offer some better alternatives, and I have numbers to back it up. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Patrick, and I'm a certified financial educator, and I provide a more realistic take on personal finance. If you find value in this, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Here's the first and worst Dave Ramsey take. Only buy a home if you can afford it on a 15-year mortgage. Maybe this still works in rural parts of the South and Midwest where you can still get a decent house for $300,000. But if you live near any population center in the United States, this is not attainable unless you're making a ridiculous salary. Let's assume, for example's sake for a second, Dave Ramsey is right about this. He always says the total cost of a home shouldn't be more than 25% of your take-home pay. That includes mortgage payment, maintenance, insurance, property taxes, everything that goes with owning a house. Let's take one of the more bustling metropolitan areas in the U.S., the Washington, D.C. area, where the average home price is around $700,000. Now, we're not getting a $700,000 home because that's out of our price range. We're going to go with a more modest $500,000 fixer-upper that we think we can afford. Ramsey says if you're a first-time home buyer, it's okay to not save 20% and only put down 5 to 10%. So what we're going to do is we're going to split that right down in the middle and put 7.5% down. So for a $500,000 fixer-upper project, we're putting down $37,500. Still no small chunk of change. Keep in mind, this is a house that's below average in price for the DC area. We're talking Northern Virginia specifically. So using Dave Ramsey's 15-year mortgage rule, we've already put down $37,500 on a 15-year mortgage at 7% interest, which is the average at the time of recording this in August 2023. With that, our mortgage is $4,154 a month. Private mortgage insurance is $289 a month, so we didn't put down 20%. And property tax in the state of Virginia on this home is $333 a month. We're also going to figure in 1% of the purchase price for maintenance every year, which in this case comes out to $416 monthly. So all in all, our total monthly cost on this $500,000 house is $5,193. And remember, Dave Ramsey says we can't spend more than 25% of our household take-home pay on the house. So in order to afford this $500,000 house, we need to multiply that number by 4 in order to get the take-home pay needed. That means you need to take home before taxes $20,773 a month. That translates to $249,283 per year to afford our house $200,000 below the average house in this area. You're like Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. This is take-home pay and does not include any paycheck deductions like income tax, Social Security, or Medicare. For a household making this much money in the state of Virginia, you're paying somewhere in the area of 30% in tax. So we need to add 30% to this number to figure out what we actually need to make in salary to afford the $500,000 house. You would need to have 2 salaries that make $162,000 or $324,000 total to afford the $500,000 home. So basically, Dave Ramsey thinks you need to be a doctor to afford a below average home in Northern Virginia. Now let's look at a more realistic alternative using a 30-year mortgage and no more than 33% of your take-home pay. The cost of the mortgage on a 30-year loan with all the same numbers from before is $3,076 a month. Total monthly cost comes out to $4,115, about $1,000 less a month. Now, using the 33% number, you need to take home $12,346 or $148,150 a year. Add in 30% tax, and you'd still need to take home $192,000, much more manageable than the $324 if you're following Dave Ramsey rules. That covers housing. For the next one, only buy a car you can pay for in cash. No, this works great if you're single with no responsibility for the safety of other human beings, but if you're a mom tasked with the safety of kids, you don't want to be cheaping out on a 2004 Hyundai with reliability and safety that's questionable at best. While paying cash is ideal, a decent used car is going to run you $15,000 to $20,000. You don't have that kind of cash laying around, and most don't. A more realistic rule for everyday people is the 24-10 rule for buying a car. With this, you can get a safe, reliable vehicle you can comfortably afford based on your income. This means put down at least 20% of the price of the car in cash. So if it's a $20,000 car, you need to put down $4,000. This also means on no more than a 4-year loan. If it has to be a longer loan than that, then you can't afford the car. And then the 10 part, the total cost of the vehicle, including insurance, gas, and the car payment itself, should not exceed more than 10% of your take-home pay. So in this example of a $20,000 car, all those expenses put together, when you figure the car payment, the maintenance, what the average person spends on gas, the total cost of the car is $637 a month, which means you need to take home $6,370 or $76,440 to afford a $20,000 car. Still no small chunk of change. Paying cash for a car is still ideal. Like I said, most people don't have $20K in cash laying around. So this is a good alternative for those that don't. And while we're talking about used cars here, guys, a new car is one of of the worst purchases anyone can make. It loses 10% of its value as soon as you drive it off the lot, 30 to 40% within the first few years. You get a car that's 3 years old, coming off the lease, most of the value is already degraded, and you're still getting a reliable vehicle as long as you maintain it correctly. All right, well, what about credit cards? Dave Ramsey says never use a credit card no matter what. I mean, if you're in credit card debt, yeah, you shouldn't use a credit card. If you can't pay off your bill every single month, yeah, you shouldn't use a credit card. That's just common sense. But if you're somewhat responsible and you have one iota of self-control, you're leaving a lot of great benefits on the table by not using a credit card. For one, fraud protection. If your cash or debit card information is stolen and somebody cleans out of your account, you're SOL, at least until the bank sorts things out, which could take weeks. And if you have bills to pay during that time, good luck to you. Not so with a credit card. That's because it's the credit card company's money that got stolen and not yours. And you damn well better believe the credit card company is gonna protect themselves. Any fraud is handled swiftly. I once had a $200 purchase at some Walmart in Illinois show up on my credit card. The company texted me immediately. I told them it was fraudulent, and that was that. It was taken care of. Contrast that with when my debit card information was stolen years ago. I had to go to the bank and physically talk to somebody to get that straightened out. I never used a debit card other than to withdraw cash again after that. Another big benefit, cash back. For everyday purchases, my wife and I use our cashback credit card and we get 2% off everything. And since we pay it off every month, we never pay a dime in interest. If it's money you're going to spend anyways, you may as well get something for it. I get between $50 and $100 cash back every single month for things I'm buying anyways. And then there's travel cards. My wife and I seldom have to pay for a flight. I'll leave a link in the description below for the credit cards I use for anyone that's interested. And the final one, you follow what the baby steps say. Dave Ramsey says pay off all debt except for your mortgage before investing any of your money. There's one critical circumstance that he leaves out, an employer 401k match, aka the closest thing to free money that there is. With many people paying off student loans well into their 30s and 40s, listening to this advice is sabotaging their greatest wealth building power, the time it needed to get compound interest to work in your favor. Let's say you make $100,000 and your employer matches 4% of your 401k contributions. Your contribution of $4,000 now becomes $8,000, an instant 100% return on your money. With many not being able to pay off student loan debt till they're in their mid-30s anyways, you're foregoing $4,000 a year in free money for 13 years in this example. We're not even factoring raises into this to keep the math simple, so the actual number is much higher. Given this example, you're giving up $99,000 in free money from your employer given the 13-year time frame, figuring for a 10% rate of return, which is the total U.S. stock market average over the last 100 years. While I don't dispute Ramsey has helped a lot of people get out of debt, and he has helped a lot of people, listening to him is unnecessarily restrictive and is going to inhibit your ability to build wealth as illustrated in this last example. I hope this gave you some more realistic and real-world tips that you can follow. Make sure you subscribe to Basic Financial Literacy for a more realistic take on personal finance.